We're just going to cover some alternate ways to rig sideways A-frame, artificial high directionals. So two different options. They're both easel leg or lazy leg, as we like to call it. And lazy leg or easel leg means that we have our standard side A-frame here, and then our easel leg or lazy leg is our compression member here. Same thing here. This is our compression member, easel leg, and this is our side A-frame. And I'm going to hand the camera off to James so he can take over. We have a sweeping resultant range. We can fan this resultant generously within these compression members here. So if our edge is here, our side A-frame, we want to pitch it forward. We want to get this head or the high directional in this case at or maybe beyond the edge a little bit, so it can clear any of those obstructions and get rid of and reduce the friction. So, you know, if this is our loaded line and our device is back here, you can see our resultant bisects our pulley. So our resultant is always going to bisect this pulley, and we're probably in the green. We aren't going to operate our line from down here. We're going to operate it from back here somewhere. And the question now becomes like, well, how far forward is this potentially going to get? And hopefully I've chosen my resultant range wisely, because if you look back here, we don't have anything guying this back leg. So if our resultant shifts kind of on this compression member, on the forward compression member, or even beyond it, it'll want to kind of tip this back leg. So there's very little tension on this back leg, keeping it down. So if we anticipate the possibility that our resultant's going to get out of range, we may want to just guide this rear leg back to an anchor behind us. That's just one consideration. So we really want to nail our resultants down fairly well. So hobbling the feet, or at least lashing them together, that's pretty standard on an A-frame. And let's take a look at the angle. So James, if you want to pan it out straight back, let's look at it as if we were operating a line. And you can see that our frame is kind of pitched over a few degrees. You want to be like maybe 5 to 10. This is probably borderline 5 degrees over. We want to clear the path for those ropes to be able to come in and out without getting hung up on the frame itself. And usually whenever we guy sideways A-frame, we want the guys to bisect the two compression members. Here it makes it really easy, because for lateral stability, we're using the compression member, the easel leg compression member, and the tension of the Aztec together in order to balance the forces out. So what's preventing this frame from tipping over that way is the Aztec, by guying it back this way. But as we guy it back this way, we're guying it against that easel leg. So this easel leg prevents it from falling in, and the Aztec prevents it from falling out. And together everything's under tension. It's nice and neat. I could easily clip an Azorb head, maybe out here. As long as there's only one hole extending out, I can clip an Azorb head and then use additional points. We just lash and frap on a flat foot connected to our easel leg. We just get a starting point and we lash and frap this so it doesn't want to move anywhere. A redundant wrap 2 pull 2 for the Aztec to provide that tension against the compression member. This is one type where we lean out our sideways A-frame to make room this way. And let's go over to this frame and take a look. Looking back, so here it has more of a pronounced canted angle, so this is more like 10 degrees over, but it's a little bit different because now it kind of looks like a tripod in a way. In a sense, it's kind of like a tripod, but not. It's still a sideways A-frame with a easel leg compression member. We're just routing our main and our belay through this whole footprint in here. The guying principles remain the same. This time we had to do 2 lashing and frappings. I didn't have enough feet, so here I just put the actual, here, I'll zoom in right here. So here we just had to get creative and just set this member in and then lash and frap on one end, and then we use the flat foot on this end to lash and frap. And then just as another option of the Aztec, the personal restraint into the Aztec, I just wrapped around the tree with some protection, clipped it in on the Purcell, and then used the quick link to set this set of 4s. So now we're tensioning this set of 4s against this compression member, providing ideal guying. So just ways to do this. And there is no one absolute way. And the reason why I have everything going through flexible prusiks here is because I don't want to use these pins. So zoom in on this, like really close. So if I put this pulley through the pen, this head, these pens were meant for a level head. So our head is definitely not level. We pitched this thing forward and now it doesn't want to go anywhere. It wants to bind. So there you go. Those are just some ways to do it. Cool.